Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. We're having fun with a hummingbird today. I'm going to take you on a fun ride and how I painted this. Super cool, super fun. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. These are techniques that I love to paint with when I use watercolor. We're doing wet on wet, we're lifting, we're adding, and creating cool effects. I show you how to draw the hummingbird as well. And if you're a Patreon member, you get the traceable as well as the extra hummingbird. So if you want to be a Patreon member, click the link in the description box below and join my Patreon where I have weekly exclusive tutorials, your Facebook group, all kinds of extra goodies, and first dibs on watercolor workshops and retreats. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, I'm taking some peacock blue. I'm loosening that up. It's so bright and turquoisey. Grab a little bit of cadmium yellow deep. So now it's getting more on the green turquoise kind of color tones. A little bit more yellow. Bluish green. I'm also going to loosen up this bright rose color that I have. Make sure this is not going down here. And that's super bright pink. I want to tone that down a little bit. I'm going to add either yellow, or I could add this cadmium red light. If I add a little bit of yellow to it, it's more of a blush tone. I'm going to play around with these kind of colors. Now these two colors together will make brown. But we're going to play with adding a little bit more yellow over here. And we'll see what happens. So I've just got those kind of ready to go. And now I'm just going to grab a big old brush. I've already drawn in my little hummingbird. I'm going to get this very, very wet. The size of the paper is 5x7, by the way. And I taped it down with Scotch Magic tape. Just to keep it in place. I'm not moving it all around. I'm really saturating this, getting this very, very wet. Okay. And I'm just grabbing whatever brush I have. I use this 12 Aqua. I'm getting that blush tone. Gonna kind of put this color up in here. Maybe add more of yellows. Playing with this. And I'll start to add some of this bluish green color. So it's more turquoise here. Green turquoise. And I'm going to start to add in some, there we go, peacock blue. I'm going to add some deeper colors too. So Prussian blue, I'm going to grab some of that. Maybe even some lunar black mixed in. Look at that. Swooping like this. I do want the top part of it have a little bit more blushy kind of fun color up here. I could get even more pink if I want. And I'm going back up my yellow. Now, you don't have to do the same colors as what I'm doing. You can change it up. But I'm going to go back in there and do that. I'm going to add some of this turquoise color. It won't be a problem because the yellow is there. Because it's green and yellow are fine. They won't make the brown. This color up here would make brown. And going back and adding my peacock blue. It's a little too bright, almost like a rainbow, so I'm not liking it. So I'm going to add some browns. I'm going to change it up a little bit while it's still damp. So I've grabbed some burnt umber. And I'm kind of putting that in there. Going back and adding some Prussian blue and some lunar black. Getting a deeper color here. I might play with flipping this sideways. Play with your colors. See, I'm tilting it. Moving this color downward. It's going up in here. It will dry lighter, by the way. It does look like kind of like a rainbow, doesn't it? I don't know if I like that color. I might add some burnt sienna up in here. Get rid of the pink so it doesn't look so rainbowish. Maybe add some of this color over here on the right. Kind of throw it up in here. I'm kind of playing with it. See if I like it or not. Adding it, going in there. I had intention of having a pretty pinky color. I don't know. I'm not liking that. So I go back and add some red. One fun thing I love to do is kind of lift color. So now I feel like it's getting too dark. I did like the pink in there more than the green. So I'll go back and add some pink. It was the rainbow, the yellow was making it too much of a rainbow. I do want the pink though. So I'm removing some paint, as you can see, and going back and adding some pink. And I don't mind it over here. Let me turn a little bit brown. I can take the turquoise color. Again, if it's too dark, play with lifting it, which I'm doing. You can even grab just a simple paper towel. Oops. And twist and turn and move color this way, creating a texture. Right? I'm gonna go back and add my green tone, greenish, bright, you know, that blue. And then we have that blush tone up top. If I mix the pink down here, it'll be kind of purple. So remember, it's going to dry later. And you don't have to use the same colors as I did. I'm going up and adding the blue. Blah, blah, blah. I do want it deeper, darker on the bottom though. So I'm adding that darker color here. And we can flip this and have it bleed a little bit. Have some kind of that color up in here for a dramatic effect. Bleed. All that good stuff. I know, crazy, right? So we can let this seep in a little bit. While it's starting to sleep in, I am going to do this thing, like we call it the bokeh. I'm going to take a stiff round brush. Stiff round brush. This is just a nondescript brush. Circular motion, lifting the paint. You can also take a small little paper towel, scrunch it up. Try and make a little circle like that. So we're going to have some actual whitish circles like this, right? You can get some bigger ones. Like I said, that stiff brush. I'm going to grab a different brush here. And you're lifting the paint. So they could be a little bit bigger. Tapping back on the paper towel. Just doing a circle. Tap back. And you're moving the paint. But it's not such a stiff edge when you're doing it this way. Again, circle, circular. See, I'm kind of making a circle and removing the paint. Tapping back on a paper towel. I know, I'm going to get some bigger ones. Smaller ones down here, bigger ones. This is what we call bokeh. It kind of looks like it's blurred in the background, and that's the whole point. Oops, I had some paint on there, so it got a little darker. So you want a clear brush. I'm gonna make some bigger ones. You want them kind of all around the paper. Removing the color. And just tapping back on the paper towel, lifting the color and tapping back. And so every now and then I clean up my brush with clear water. The paper towel ones is very white. These ones are just subtle. It has a different look, different vibe when you're just lifting it. It's a little more magical, right? Because these birds are very magical. So lifting the color with the brush. Go right over a little tail. I can still see the pencil of the hummingbird for my guiding myself later. And you want to make a variety of the circles in different shapes. So don't want them to be all the same shape. Smaller ones and big ones. little tiny ones. So I'll do like a little tiny one here and do a bigger one here. See that? And do a small one. Just tiny little circle lifting the color off the paper. It's really pretty on the dark color. It's not so bad on that little color too though. And it's gonna take time. See, I'm lifting up over in the wing area too. Now you say, why would you lift it now, not when it's painted? Because it's really kind of the background. We're going to paint on top of it. Just clean up. It's getting a little dirty here, so I have to clean my brush. Look at that. Magical little drops. Now I want to have some bigger ones. So I'll have to take my paper towel, lift that one. Much bigger. And I can even do a trick with my flat wash brush. Clean up my flat wash brush. It's seeping into the paper, so it's removing. I might want to remove some color here. Again, lifting and tapping back. So like a bigger section, just kind of swooping in and tapping back, kind of scraping the paper a little bit. So you see some of the circles, and then it's just more of a whole bunch of color getting lifted. Right? So maybe you don't see the circles so much. You see them a little bit. I'm tapping back on the paper towel, removing the color. Creating texture in this background. Interesting, right? You have to play around with the color and see how you like. I mean, I like the blues and a little bit of the pink. All right, I think I'm gonna let this dry and we're gonna come back and put in a little cute little hummingbird. Okay, now that it's dry, I have these kind of fun metallic watercolors. I have a link to my Amazon shop in the description of. There's some fun metallic colors, not the same ones as these ones, but similar. The tail area could be metallic green with a little metallic green here. I know it's kind of neonish bright green, but we can see how it looks on here. And I'm just grabbing a Princeton 8 round brush. I'll just put that color in here. It's going to fill in the tail with that metallic, and I'll add some other color to it in a second. And this section right up here of the wing. Just start off putting that metallic color in there. It's kind of fun. Can water it down a little bit and add some lovely metallic green up over its head here. Go right into the beak. Just fill that in. And we'll be playing with, you know, the wing. Everything can be really pretty and bright if you want to. This area right here can be more of a brownish blue, it's gray. The hummingbird is coming like blues and grays. I might grab my peacock blue, water this down, and add a little burnt umber. So it's a nice turquoise color, but it's a little more muted. So I'm going to go put this in here for the body. The wings, I'm going to add some of the color to it. Again, just filling this in. Yours can be more brown. I'm having it colorful. Up here in the neck, it doesn't have to have a color, but you can put it in. There's so many different hummingbirds. I might play around with putting some of this color up in here on the wing. Right? You can see him now, right? You can play with, I have purple here, which is kind of fun. Bleed in a little bit of this purple. So while it's a little damp, you can kind of tap in a little purple. And get him to become real fun. A little purple would go nice, metallic purple. Metallics are fun to play with. Even up in here, I can tap in a little purple. Turquoise, I've got that blue turquoise metallic. It's pale though. It's not as bright as the other stuff. So you can play with, you know, putting some of that in here. This little neck. Tap there. Don't be afraid to mix some of the metallics too, you know. It's fun. The wing is generally like it could be a bright color, this kind of pinkish red and that rusty color, whatever. Kind of look good. I can play with this. Or I could do purple. Or you can do gray. So I'm doing this metallic pink kind of color tone. This is where the fun begins. You can just play with this. Metallic. Same color here. I'm going to go over here. So it's an interesting hummingbird. It's not boring. We'll add some depth with it in a second. Just kind of filling it in for now. I'm going to start to grab a little skinnier brush. This is the 8 long round. Loosen this up. And I'm just going to grab the peacock blue again and burnt umber. A little bit more peacock. So it's a deeper color. These are starting to all bleed into each other. Remember this little tail that we did? I'm going to take this and make little scallop lines. See? Little scallop lines. I'll get a little bit darker under the wing at that blue. And play with this a little bit. Add some veins in here. Put some blue color on there. That peacock blue color that I just mixed. This guy got a little too dark. I'm going to put some in here. Because I can. And even this wing part. I can just add some detail. Like get a little bit darker with this peacock in here. Right? Have fun putting it. Little dots around the eye. Get a little bit darker here. Fun with the bird. You can get it lighter. You can add a little bit of yellow. You make it very colorful. I'm going to go add peacock. Right up in here. Right into this section. Because I can. I feel like it. Make my own little bird. Going back with the purple. Remember the metallic purple? It kind of dried out. And I could play with adding this green in again too. Just, it's gotten a little thicker now, so just little taps. Even the yellow, I can mix that light green with the yellow. Ooh, look how pretty that is. I'm not making a perfect hummingbird. I'm just having fun with the colors. Turquoise. I feel like you need to punch it up a little bit. So I'm going to add that purple in here. Might get a little bit gray, but it's all metallic. Take that same purple. You can start to play with the wings here. We could mix it in with the red or just use the purple. Look at that. Having fun. Put these lines out here like this. Now if I mix it with the red, that purple, the color that I had, it's that cranberry red, whatever. Interesting. Right? You could even make it darker, grayish color. Just a cute little hummingbird. I like it. I've grabbed that metallic pale blue. I'm going to add some of the green again up in here. Take that peacock blue, put a couple little lines in here. We want to create more depth, so I'm going to get a little bit darker on the belly and stuff. So I'm just grabbing peacock blue right out of the tube a little bit, watered it down. I'm just going to tippy tap around some of this belly here and going down to the tail. Do little dots, adding a little bit of fun. They have sometimes little dots on them, little teeny dots, like this. Getting a little bit darker up by the eye. And of course the beak will be like a deep gray. I would say black, but a deep gray. So I'm going to go back and grab my bright green. Kind of give it a little bit of highlights on the wings here. It's pretty. And I'll take my turquoise deeper color, get a little bit deeper on the wing here. on those little scallops. You can't see them that well. They got wiped away because they dried later. I'm going to grab my peacock blue with this purple, mix them together and get a little bit deeper. And now we get this nice deep blue. It's just going to help it look a little bit more three-dimensional. It's a deeper blue going in here. It's kind of pretty. I'll add a little bit of that color here, up here, defining this wing a little bit better. Go across all the way here and kind of add that deeper blue towards this part of the wing and the little lines you see. Same thing here. Just going to help define it better. Okay, we're going to work on our little flower over here on the left because he's almost done. Going back and grabbing some bright rose from Holbein and cadmium red light. We get a nice pretty pinky rosy color. I'm just going to make some simple marks with my brush to make a simple flower. So just take 8 long round. I'm just going to hold it kind of on its side like this. Water this down a little bit. And see, I'm going to make these little marks like this. So it's a simple little flower. Water it down. Make it a little bit lighter. You can make it like it's going into a petal, the insert of the petals. Right, I'm going to make another one back here. Just these little wiggle lines. It could be any kind of flower. I'm going to water this down a little bit more. Just fill this in. I'll add some depth in a minute. Now I'm going to make some greens. So cadmium yellow light, Prussian blue. Got a nice green. I'm going to make some stems. So I'm going to connect this like a stem here, kind of coming out here and pull some stems out this way. And a leaf. I'm going to water this down. You can just push down and pull your brush back. Boom, leaf. Do another one here. Push down, pull back, leaf. We got some nice fun leaves. We can make it a little bit darker by adding in the Prussian blue and little burnt umber. Can tap a little bit of this deep color in between some of the blooms that you see here in the end while it's still wet. That's kind of it. And we'll wait for this pink to dry. We'll add a little bit more depth to it. So it's starting to seep into the paper. I'm getting a little bit darker by making the paint, going back with the same 2 colors, but the paint is much thicker. I'm just going to tap it in while it's still damp. Get some depth with just tapping in a little deeper color. You can add a couple little doodad flowers up this way. Something in the back. Playing with that. And then connect it with some, whoop, my green got on there. We'll do the green first and then add the flower. Green little stems. You can put some stems out this way. You can put another flower this way. You know, have fun with this. I might add a couple more stems out this way and some flowers coming out behind it. And a couple little doodads. Just tapping my brush in this section over here with some of that color. All right. So by now, everything kind of seeping into your paper. It still feels a little too dark for me. I'm going to take my flat wash brush and I'm going to lift. So I'm going to scrub and lift and we'll see what happens. Even with that part, see, I'm just going to scrub and tap back on the paper towel, removing this dark, even part of the wing would be kind of interesting. So he's a little more translucent and not so like, hey, here I am out in right field. See, I'm kind of lifting and tapping back. Yeah, interesting, right? And going here too, in the belly. Just gets a little bit too much. Remove some of the paint here. Interesting. I don't mind this wing being very, very bright. Maybe I'm just kind of removing some of this background. Very, very interesting. Even if I just grab him out a little bit. See? Interesting, more interesting, right? This is bugging me a little bit. I'll have to put his eyes in, of course. Just erasing him a little softer. Everything's going to be just a little bit softer. And even the bottom. I feel like it's so dark in the bottom. We do want it dark, but not super dark. Kind of removing that flower. Ooh, I love that look. It's fun to play. Now you can decide to do this or not do this. It's up to you. And I might take some of that brilliant blue. I'm gonna take some ultramarine blue deep. Kind of play with like adding the purple coming out this way. Like the wings have caused like this wonderful, look at that. Ooh, I love that. Interesting, right? You just gotta play with your watercolor. We just never know. And if I grab the blue and a little bit of pink, I'm making some purple. Some purple down here. Just grab the pink. I'm liking this. And did you see? It was minimal effort. Look at that. I love it. I'm going to grab more pink. And I'm going to just splatter some pink. And I think we'll be done with it. Grab some bright rose. I'm like loosening this bright rose up. You can't really see it over here. Interesting. Changes it again. Just a little bit. Loving that. So I'm going to wait for that to all dry. And then paint the eye. And we're done. I mix my blackish color. I'm using ultramarine blue deep and burnt sienna. Because I don't like to have this kind of fake looking black. You'll just see the black eye. I'm grabbing a paper towel. And I'll zoom in. And I'm using a really small brush. This is a 4 round. I know. I barely use tiny brushes. But I tell you all the time it's just for detail. So fill in the round part of the eye. And go back in. And the almost black. And then there you go. And then I'll use it for the beak. Coming in. Goes up into the eye. Right? Just tapping. Kind of getting that translucent. Kind of gray to his eye. Do a couple little dots around the eye and the bottom. So that's kind of all highlighted. Look at that. Ooh, I love it. Now you would say to yourself, well, why don't you remove all that paint and the bokeh and then go back and do it? Because sometimes that's what I do. It's a process, and I want to show you my process. It's more interesting. Take off the tape. Always pull it away from you. I'm using Scotch Magic tape so you don't rip it. Although I've never ripped it. I'll tell you that right now. I've never ripped it. I don't know. People said they ripped it. I'm like, what kind of tape are you using? And we revealed the beautiful hummingbird. So like I said, I hope you really enjoyed it. If you're a Patreon member, you get the trace and the extra tutorial. So if you want to be a Patreon member, click the link in the description box below. And it helps support my channel here on YouTube, which I really appreciate. But you always get free content on YouTube as well. So thank you for stopping by. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.